Hello, Charlie TCG here, and welcome back to my channel. 151 is finally out after what? 4 months of waiting for this set to be out. Really interesting approach where Pokemon went with it, releasing every single Pokemon that got released in the Kanto games, but also in Pokedex order. So it starts with grass Pokemon, but doesn't just go all the grass Pokemon. It's a really unique approach by going exactly in the Pokedex order, all the way going down to Mew, being the 151st card. So what I'm going to do now is talk about the buy list, the competitive cards, and kind of the hot take archetypes, which could potentially do really, really well in the meta. Hope you enjoyed the video, and let's jump right into it. So obviously, without any further ado, Mew EX is by far the best card in the set. By drawing till you have 3 cards in hand is a very, very good draw factor and kind of goes around Iono. It has an amazing attack for 3 colorless energies. Choose one of your opponent's active Pokemon's attack and use that for this attack. This is really good and also has free retreats, so there's so much going from Mew EX. Copying likes of Charizard EX, Giratina V-Star, Radiant Greninja, heck, even some Lugias and Mew. There's so many different ways about where Mew EX kind of go around it. It's a card. It is super good and definitely a 4-off card. Go to see plays in so many archetypes. Another one which I generally think could be really good is Blastoise EX. It has a really good ability which lets you have 30 more HP by taking 30 less damage from any of your opponent's active Pokemon's attacks. Any damage from attacks, but also has twin cannons by discarding 2 water Pokemon energies from your hand. It does 140 damage for each card you discard. I think this could be a really good archetype. It's seen some play over in Japan, but having at least a 2/2 of, I would potentially go to a 3/3. We don't really need the midline here, but this War Turtle is the best version. So definitely pick up 2 of this one by having 100 HP, better than the Pokemon Go, which I believe is 90 HP or has a much worse sort of attack. Speaking of better cards, we do definitely need to pick up the Call for Family Pidgey. May have 50 HP, but this is so much better than the one from Obsidian Flames. Yes, it does have 10 HP less, but searching your deck for 2 basic Pokemon, putting onto your bench is a very, very good card. So definitely pick up that card as well. There's also a copy of the 4 copies of that new Charmander and 2 copies of Charmeleon. Both of them have 10 more HP. This Charmeleon can survive the likes of Radiant Greninja, and if you have 2 copies of the Charmanders down, Sableye can only KO 1 and not both of them. So that's exactly the reason why we play these much stronger versions of these decks, because Charizard EX, like I mentioned a couple of days ago, is doing incredibly well and will constantly see a lot more play, and these cards are huge, huge must if you are playing Charizard EX. Now, a really interesting card is Zapdos EX. Did really, really well over in Yokohama in the Champions League by getting in the winning list here, and has an amazing ability which has free retreat if it has any lightning energy attached to it, and the amazing attack for 3 lightning energies, 120 damage and 90 more to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon that has any damage counter on them. Obviously, the winner list play the likes of Halucha to put that damage counter on and then go that 90 damage. But if you're doing a couple of 2-shots here, that Zapdos can potentially go around and get a 4, maybe even 3 prize turn, which I absolutely love. And generally think this will see a lot of play in likes of Miraidon and maybe other decks as well. Right now, definitely home in Miraidon. The other card which I've talked a lot about is Ditto. Ditto has an amazing ability where you get to kind of use this Pokemon in your active spot and can only use it once per turn. But if you do, you get to search your deck for a basic Pokemon except for Ditto. If you do, discard this Pokemon and attach and I'll cast attach to it and put the new Pokemon onto it. This is really good because it's your 5th Arceus and V, Lugia V. It's another Miraidon EX. There's so many different ways around cards here. Just instantly just getting rid of it, switching to another one is really, really powerful. Only limited once per turn. We're kind of used to that. The likes of Pidgeot, the likes of Galarian Moltres, so many ways around with once per turn. But these cards have all seen huge competitive play. So this Ditto could generally be one of those archetypes. Really, really powerful in like Arceus decks I've seen. And obviously the likes of decks, but you only play a couple cards here instead of the likes of playing Hisuian Heavy Ball. This Ditto can be any card as possible, which I generally really, really love. There's also so many really good trainer cards in this deck. Cycle Road, I love, where you just go discard a basic energy, draw a card. It's Radiant Greninja as a stadium, but 1 less card. But so many cards require you to discard energies. Think of the likes of Gardevoir. This could be really powerful in that one while we wait till we get that really good Moonlight Stadium. Could be really good likes of Darkrai by drawing Dark Patch and drawing some cards. Really good in so many archetypes here. And just getting that extra draw from discarding energy, really, really powerful. Maybe even Shein Pow. Probably not, but it could be an option. Snatch Arm, or I call it the Grappler Arm. I love this when your opponent reveals a hand, choose a Pokemon you find them, put it at the bottom of your deck. This is seen in so many decks like DT and Mew, heck, even likes of Miraidon, like I covered a couple of days ago. This is really, really powerful by not only to get to look at your opponent's hand, but you get to disrupt them by putting one of their Pokemon in the bottom of their deck. You can really choose if you want to Ionia your opponent, or if you want to boss up there, but just giving that free information into your hand, of your opponent's hand, is really, really important. Leftovers and Ring Band and Big Balloon are really good tool cards in the set. Leftovers gets you at the end of your turn. If this card is attached within the active spot, heal 20 damage. It's a really good, just healing 20 damage at the end of your turn is super, super good. I've seen the like of Gudra, heck, even the likes of River Room EX, by having multiple different tool cards attached to it. It's really good. Get an extra healing sort of factor in there, the likes of switch cards, the likes of so many healing cards you might potentially have in the game. This Leftovers could be a really good slot in that. And obviously in the Snorlax archetype, which I might talk about in a little bit, it works really well in it. Ring Band, I really, really like this in Stage 1 Pokemon. I'm loving how Stage 1 Pokemon are getting quite a lot of support. We had the Stadium card, which they do more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. This one here, they take 30 less damage from your opponent's Pokemon. Obviously, this is really, really good in Revel Room, where they can have these huge, beefy amount of HP, and this can really, really help in those sort of matchups. I'm a huge fan of this card. I generally think it will see play. Big Balloon, if it's attached to a Stage 2 Pokemon, it has free retreat. Interesting. I don't know any Stage 2 which could potentially use this. The likes of Pidgeot EX is a Stage 2 support Pokemon, has free retreat anyway, and other Stage 2 Pokemon like the likes of Excalibur potentially could be good having a free retreater, but you only have 2 energies anyway, and you're fine to discard energies from it. You could have it in like the Charizard, but that kind of takes away the likes of like Choice Belt or the Vitality Band. So it is a good card here. No immediate play yet, but if Stage 2 see a huge amount of play, this is definitely a huge must-have. As you see, a lot of these cards are 4-offs because they are just that good. Some of the hot takes I'm playing here are really, really interesting. And obviously, it's the new Charizard EX, which does for 4 fire energies, 330 damage. This is not too bad because you get to discard 3 energies from this Pokemon anyway. You could easily slot this in the Charizard EX deck already, but you could, instead of getting that 330 damage when your opponent's taking 5 prizes, why not do 330 damage potentially turn 2, maybe even turn 3? This card could really see a lot of play in those Charizard EX decks. It has been in 1 or 2 like winning lists, but it isn't as popular as some archetypes are here. But generally, this could be a really interesting take where we could see Charizard EX go. Arbok EX is, I really love this in dark decks, and it has seen some success. Doing 150 damage, and your opponent discards 2 cards from the hand is really, really good. And it can easily get that accelerated out turn 2. Like I mentioned, we have Dark Patch as well. We have that Cycle Road. There's so many ways how Dark Pokemon have so much more support here. And Arbok EX could really, really see a lot of play here. Disrupting your opponent with likes of Iono, Judge, potentially judging them, and then just going, right, I do 150 damage, and now you're left with like 2 or 3 cards. Iron 2 is just so good in the late game. They might even just go to top decking. So that Arbok EX could see a bit of play. Another card which I want to see play is Alakazam EX. With that amazing attack, which is 120 damage, and it can even attack from the bench spot. With the likes of not Mr. Mime, I'm so used to the old one here. We have a Mimikyu and the likes of Snorlax and block Snorlax by playing some Pokemon where your opponent can't either damage or retreat is really, really impactful by making sure they're as slow as possible. Attacking from the bench, 120 damage to the active is still pretty good. It's not terrible. It does quite a bit down to 120. You're doing like 2, maybe 3, sometimes even 4-shotting quite a few Pokemon, which could be really, really, in fact, like really, really good. If you're behind like a really good Pokemon like Mimikyu and Snorlax V, Snorlax the block Snorlax, really slowing down your opponent's Pokemon. Could see a bit of play here, really unique approach, and I'm really excited to see if some of the players here might try and like really utilize and abuse that really interesting effect. This is the Snorlax which I talked about. We can use this a bit more usability. Pick up 2 leftovers from discard pile and put to your hand here. This is good in like tool drop decks or even like of Revel Room to really search your deck and gain loads of like these healing aspects of cards, which is not too bad in a way here. I thought it could be a really interesting card to like pick up. It's just like it's really kind of that unique approach. Dotria though is a card which I absolutely love. I'm a huge fan of Zoroark V-Star, and this card really works tremendously well in here. Has 1 retreat, costs 100 HP. Not terrible. Obviously, it's a stage 1 like Zoroark, so it's obviously going to need a bit of time to set up, but has that zooming draw, which you get to put 1 damage counter on it if you do draw a card. That's one thing Zoroark never really had, is a really consistent draw factor. Everyone always went to Bibarel, and this card here could really see quite a lot of play. By constantly damaging your trio, you can just draw multiple cards. If you have 2, maybe even 3, heck, even 4 up, you can draw potentially up to 4 new cards, which I absolutely love. And it has an amazing attack, Berserk Beak, 10 damage plus 30 more damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. If you have 9 damage counters on here, you're doing an additional 100 and 270 damage. That plus 10 is 280. That's a KO on pretty much multiple relevant cards, like the likes of Giratina, the likes of Arceus, Lugia, Palkia, so many different evil archetypes can easily be one-hit KO'd by a one-prize deck. Yes, you are incredibly weak to Sableye and Greninja, but we don't talk about that. It's really fun. I'm in denial of those cards there, but Dotrio could see a lot of play. Another unique ability is Starmie, which gets to put 2 damage counters on one of your opponent's Pokemon. Brilliant. But if you do it, discard this Pokemon and all cards attached to it. So it's a turn 2 damage counters anywhere, where you can play the likes of Radiant Kazam can move damage counters around it, or the likes of Halucha, or even the other sort of Pokemon like Kindra, or other cards like that. This is a unique way to put some damage counters on it, which could maybe see some play. And there were some unique sort of trainer cards, like of Safety Goggles. It has no weakness, and NG Seal, flip a coin, if heads, attach a basic energy from a discard pile to one of your bench Pokemon. I quite like this, as NG Seal potentially could see play here. NG Turbo did see some play, which was only, I believe, to the active Pokemon, but to one of the bench is not too bad at all, and I'm really intrigued by how a set is kind of like introducing with all the effects from the 151, the original Kanto games, and the Pokemon, and really kind of translate into the meta. So I hope this has helped with some of the cards which you might definitely be picking up. For me personally, I'm definitely going to be Mew EX, Dotrio, and definitely the likes of the new copy of the Pidgeys. Definitely some really unique trainer cards here. I think the Charizard could see some play in Charizard EX as the meta is starting to evolving, and some unique ways how GT Mew could really see some play with that Graphook arm. So I hope you've enjoyed this video and really helped you prepare for 151, as it is in fact by the time this video is released going to be out. So I hope you enjoyed this video, and comment down below, what card is your chase card? What card are you going to look for and try and pull from the set? I really like these collecting cards here. I think it's a really unique approach away how Pokemon kind of do it. I'm really excited to see exactly how the meta is going to shape up for us with the 151 cards. I will see you in a couple of days for another video, and I'll talk to you then. Bye for now.